Your presenter for today is Sumati Advani. And today in our studios, I have two wonderful people that I'd like to introduce you to. The first one is Mohit Tolani. Welcome to our studio, Mohit.
Thank you very much.
And we have Kedarnath, who I think most people know through Chandana TV and all the other community work that he's been doing. And welcome to our studio, Kedarji.
Thank you very much, Sumati.
Okay. I might start today with Mohit. Mohit Tolani is a shining star of Sindhi Association, of which I am the president. And I really wanted to share this joy that we have in our association with all our listeners. Mohit, you have done us proud. You have done your parents proud, and you have done the whole community proud. And we would like just to, if you don't mind, tell our listeners a little bit about you today.
Certainly. Well, I'm definitely age 23, so quite young. But no, having said that, I'm currently studying dentistry on the Gold Coast, and I did a Bachelor of Medical Science with honours in pathology from the University of Sydney. And I think throughout my university life and even high school life on the Gold Coast, what I did, I indulged myself in quite a bit of extracurriculars, which involved volunteer work and leadership activities, which got me quite engaged in the community. And through that process, I learned a lot about myself and understood the fact that, with study, I think doing extracurriculars keeps you very balanced. And the outcomes of those things were quite positive. And whether it be mentoring Indigenous kids through the Australian Indigenous Mentoring Experience Program, or whether it be mentoring other medical science students, I think I learned a lot about myself, and I think it taught me a great lesson for life.
That's really, really impressive. Just for our listeners, just a little bit of background about Mohit. Mohit was born in Sydney. And then his parents decided to go back to India. And he grew up there. And then he came in 2004 back to Sydney. And he came back here and he completed his year 12 in 2006 from Southport School in the Gold Coast. He achieved an OP of 1, which is equivalent to 99.95 ATAR. Now, that is absolutely incredible, isn't it, Kedarji?
Absolutely. Mind-boggling.
Yes. I think all our Indian children here, a lot of them are doing really, really well and putting in a lot of effort. And Mohit, 99.95, I'm sure. I hope your parents didn't say, what happened to the balance 0.5?
Well, they did say that. but I would definitely say that I think once I've embarked on the right journey, I think they're quite happy with that. So I think at 0.5, I'll bring it later once I graduate.
Sumati, if I can just butt in here. It is so refreshing to see such a young person, leading and making not only Sindhi Association proud, but I think every Indian. And I do hope there are young listeners who are actually in studying in HSC. And in fact, my daughter Priya will be going into HSC after the holidays now. And such as Priya and all the others, I'm sure they'll be very inspired. That
by the success.
Sky is the limit, man. And I think you should ask him how he achieved that. That'll be, I'm sure everyone wants to know that.
Yes, I will. I think, Mohit, you are currently studying to be a dental practitioner.
Yep.
But as Kedarji said, you came here in 2004, and then you had to face the HSC, which was a whole different ball game, and this was in 2006. So it's really only 2 years transition that you've had from the Indian way of studying to the Australian medium. So what were the challenges that you found?
I think there's obviously the technical differences between the curriculum in both the nations, but I think if you've got a technique in your head and you've got the methodology, I think obviously starts from the support of the family, that they are quite engaging and they help you with what you do. I think if you've got the passion and determination with respect to how you study, when you study, how you timetable yourself, doesn't matter what language you learn, but you can even pick up the language in 2 years' time as fast as you can. Similarly, I think with the Australian system in Queensland, especially considering it's a foreign state, foreign country, although I'm born here, but I think what I learned, I mean, I balanced myself out. I did rowing as well. I started with that. I did swimming. Then I focused myself on studies as well, and I had a balanced timetable. And I took subjects and was paying attention to different aspects of those subjects to see, is this the career for me? Is this not for me? So I think through that engaging process, I researched a lot, and that got me more into study as opposed to what the future outcome would be, as opposed to what I should do now, that I need to get it done for marks. And hence, I worked hard, and I think it paid off really well, successfully.
That's really inspiring, and I'm sure the key message here with our students who are going through the hard times of the HSC is to find a balance so that they're not burning themselves out early in the day.
Absolutely.
And they are balancing it with physical activity so that they are staying healthy.
Yep.
So that they have a healthy outlook on life, and that gives them a healthy platform from which to study.
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
Because, sorry, Sunitiji, no, because most of, everyone, like, in HSC, they freak out, oh, gee, I won't be doing anything, I can't do anything. And that's the, the way everyone thinks that way. So, so what would you advise them?
I think the best...
In a nutshell, of course.
In a nutshell, yeah. I think the best advice would be not to lose motivation, because in HSC, I know 2 of my best mates had lost motivation. So I think, because you know what the outcome is going to be at the end. It'll be positive. It'll be in your favor. So you need to see where you're going, what the requirements are, and you got to work towards them. So I think you got to keep saying that to yourself. Even if you think this is tough, well, life will pose a lot of challenges, but I think you got to keep saying that to yourself. So not to lose motivation and keep going with it. And it's only 1 year of life. You've got multiple years to live. So
if they don't achieve the right marks, it's not the end of the world.
Oh, it's not the end.
See, this is what, we need to get that message out, because people
I think particularly to the parents, because I think there's a lot of parental pressure. I know a lot of parents will not want their children to go out and better or sit in front of the computer or whatever, keep studying, and I think that's the wrong policy actually.
I think there's a lot of doors, and if you keep knocking doors, there'll be one door of success which will definitely open up. There's multiple avenues.
Yes,
life has just started.
Oh, that's good. Okay, we'll go to a song now, and then we'll come back and we will get some more tips from Mohit.
धीमे धीमे गाओ, धीरे धीरे गाओ, हौले हौले गाओ, तेरे लिए पिया। धीमे धीमे गाओ, धीमे धीमे गाओ, धीरे धीरे गाओ, हौले हौले गाओ, तेरे लिए पिया। गुनगुन मैं गाती जाऊं, चुन चुन पायल छनकाऊं, सुन सुन कब से दोहराऊं, पिया पिया पिया। गुलशन महके महके, ये मन बहके बहके, और तन दहके दहके, क्यों है बता पिया। मन की जो हालत है ये तन की, जो रंगत है ये तेरी मोहब्बत है ये पिया।
You are listening to Indian Language Program brought to you by United Indian Association. Your host for today is Sumati Advani, and in our studios I have Mohit Tolani and Kedar Nathji. And we were just discussing earlier, Mohit, about your HSC achievements. And I'd like to tell our viewers that Mohit has also achieved many awards. If I start reading here, I think it'll be 1 hour. But just very recently, Mohit has won the Strathfield Young Citizen of the Year award. He has won the 2011 New South Wales Premier's Award for Community Services representing the Indian subcontinent community. He has won the 2012 Citizen of the Year Award by Strathfield Council, which is very recent, and the 2012 Young Achiever of the Year Award for excellence in the field of leadership, volunteerism, academia. It was awarded by the Commonwealth Bank of Australia and Brisbane Indian Times Queensland Multicultural Awards. Now, I'm having such a difficulty even just reading the names of the awards, and it's a huge achievement, Mohit. How did all this happen, and how did you, I know it's a lot of hard effort, but how did the people pick you so quickly and realize the good work you've been doing?
I think it started at high school when one of my teachers. I like doing extra stuff. That's how I put it. But I think that's just the best way to know about the community is to be in the community, and the way you do that is obviously through community service. That's the best way to start. You don't get paid for it, but you certainly have a cherishable experience. You network, you make friends, but you learn a lot, and you also give back to the community. So it's a two-way process. I took that a step forward when I came to Sydney at my university, and there was a holistic range of activities.
Yes.
So mentoring and teaching and doing days here and there, and working with refugee kids and children, also being part of the New South Wales government's multicultural youth network. I think the youth, the people saw that, and I think one of the key factors, one of the key person who saw that was my mentor at University of Sydney, Dr. Brent McParland.
Yep.
So he recognized that, and I think he was the nominator for some of these awards actually. And he's not said it openly, but I know that he's the person who would have done that. So I think the academics and the potentials, the key people in society do observe the achievements of people, and I think they put that forward, and I think I was graced by these awards.
I think it's a very important point that you make, Mohit, because I know a lot of parents think that all you really need to be is a bookworm, rat ke padh lo aur pass ho jao. And what happens then is that you're not really developing yourself on a wider basis. And the Australian way of life, I've been here 32 years and I have been watching, is a well-rounded person is what they're looking for. They want their children to participate in all sorts of activities. And I think for you to have started not just with sports, but for you to have started with volunteering in the community to make a contribution so early is highly commendable. What do you think, Kedarji?
I think it's very important because people lose touch. Parents, I think sometimes lose touch of the side that it's just not, getting 98% in academia or at your HSC. You also have to develop, your other personality, and I think it is so important that at a young age. One gets involved with sports, one gets involved with the community services, as you've done, Mohit. This is a very good example. I think, Sunitaji, I think this is, apart just from studies, you can't develop, and that's what this country, they look at all, what else you do.
Yes, I think even like in the medical line these days, I know you're doing dental, and I'm sure you would have gone for a lot of pre-interviews before you got into it. One of the very big important role these days is your personal development, and it's not just about treating people medically. It's more about how you treat the person, and you might want to elaborate on that.
I think at university that's actually very well said, because we focus on professional development more in the sense of ethics and how you treat a person, because a patient will return to you if he sees that you're seeing him as a patient, as a person, not as an item you're operating on. So I think the communication aspect, the empathetic side, the sympathetic side, knowing what the person's going through, what you say, where you say, how you say, their reaction, I think all of that, I think you can't learn in a degree. They assess that previous to the degree via an interview. Now, to gain that experience before the interview, I think you would have to have life experiences, and to build that, you need to go into the community to understand different sides of the coin. And although there's two in the real coin, but the world is multi-dimensional. So I think the more you do, it's still less. I think there's a lot of things which can be done to gain that experience, and that's what shapes your understanding personally and professionally. And when they ask you in the interview, or you go for any jobs, or even when you're working, I think those experiences come to you naturally and they culminate into an understanding.
Yes, I mean, it's not enough to say, okay, now I've got 6 months to go to the interview, so let me go and cram as many of social
Exactly.
activities and just take a few certificates from here and there and say, look, here's my social activity.
Yep, that's not true. It doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work because it won't come naturally and you'll get picked to be a fraud.
Easily. Yep.
है कोई तो वजह जो जीने का मजा यूं आने लगा। ये हवा में है
Welcome to Indian Language Program, brought to you by United Indian Association on Digital 2000 every Saturday between 1 p.m. and 2 p.m. Today we are very privileged to have in our studio Mohit Tolani and Kedarji. Mohit, you have been giving us some very good information about the students and how they can achieve their dreams. Tell me something. A lot of our viewers don't know this, but I think I should mention it, that you come from a very well-known Sindhi family. And the Sindhi family is the Tolanis, and I think everyone knows Chandru and Jack Tolani. They are leading business people. And I'm sure there would have been a lot of pressure on you as an individual to join the business. So tell me, what were the challenges that you had facing that, and how did you overcome them?
I think it's an expectation technically from a traditional family that you take over the family's business. My family, obviously, they thought I might enter business or my younger brother might enter business. But then as I grew up in school, understood what my intelligence lies in, I thought the sciences, the mathematics and the biological science especially was my field. Then I spoke about this to my parents. My parents said, well, what jobs are out there, what sort of industry and everything. So I researched that. At first, obviously my parents said it might be too long, because business, you can just get with a business degree and you've got experience, you've got family established, you can just go straight to work. With a medical degree or a dental degree, it obviously takes ages to specialize, and it's a long process to get there. But I think that's life. Like, you need to take up a challenge, and I said to my family that that's what I enjoy. So I don't mind studying and investing in my future, and I did that, and I know that I'll be best at that. So I think over time they saw that, and I justified myself very well, saying that this is what I'll be good at, and not just obviously financially, but obviously something which I can maximize to my wider potential over the future.
I think it's important that I know a lot of parents who try to achieve their own dreams through their children. I have seen cases where a child has got 99.95% and really didn't want to be a doctor, wanted to be in the different industry, and the parents, because they had it and it was their dream that she'll be a doctor or he'll be a doctor, they pushed their children through it, and the children went through it and turned out to be very unhappy people. And very often they have finished halfway through the course and then given up and had to start again.
Because you lose interest. I think you need to sustain your interest, and you will only have your interest in something which you're passionate about. And that's the key goal, that you should aim for where you want to go. And you don't need 99.95 for everything in this world. You can do, obviously if you want to get there and you haven't got the mark, you can achieve it later. There's other avenues. But having said that, a certain mark to get somewhere is fine. You don't need to be the toppest.
I think that's a very important point, Mohit. I think it would be good if you could elaborate that. I think the children need to understand that if they haven't got the exact points that they want, there are other avenues and they can still achieve their dream. Is that what you're telling us?
That's certainly true. I mean, if you want to go into one degree and you haven't got high enough marks in HSC, or you missed out by 0.5, I think there's another way you can do another degree and upgrade your score. That's obviously the simplest way. Then there's, for medical, if you want to do a graduate program, you've got 3 years to do that. So there's potential multiple avenues and stuff. The advantage with that is that you get to see other degrees as well, or things, different things which you might have not expected. And sometimes you might be like, no, this is my career. That previous thing wasn't my career. So there's multiple opportunities. But I think if you want to get there, you don't need to lose hope. There is multiple avenues today.
Just one question again, coming to this, Sunitiji. There's also a big pressure, right?
Yep.
Put on young children, once they pass HSC. Now they pick the universities, the mom and dad. You must go to University of New South Wales or Sydney University. That's why there's a lot of competition, correct?
Certainly.
So I think there's a pressure there as well, that you need to be able to get into these universities. you have to have a certain amount of percentage of otherwise it's very, very difficult.
Certainly.
Do you think that would be another contributing factor as well?
That's definitely a contributing factor as to, because what happens, and it's happened with most of my friends, that they want their kids to go to sandstone universities, and they are ANU, Melbourne, Sydney, UQ, things like that. Now, if your degree is available at another university and you're getting a scholarship and you're aiming for a sandstone university and you miss out, you're getting a scholarship there. So where are your pros and cons? Today, it doesn't really matter where you get a degree from. It's the experience and the practicality which counts. You can get a good mark at a university, but I think what they look at is your overall character in terms of academia, community service, or not just that, but leadership experiences as well. And they test you on these things. Now, you can get that from any university. If you have got that motivation and potential, you can get it from any university. It doesn't really matter.
That's very good.
Very
to
well
know.
said, Mohit. Yeah. Thank you.
And I think it's a very key message for our listeners, parents and HSC students that keep your dream. And for parents to let their children achieve their dream and be who they want to be. And I think that's a very, very important message. I also noticed that you had achieved a gold level at the Duke of Edinburgh Award. Can you tell us about it and how it has helped you to develop yourself?
I think the Gold Duke of Edinburgh Award, Duke of Edinburgh Award in general is basically, there's a couple of stages, like the bronze, the silver, and then there's the gold. I went on gold straight because I was 16 years of age. This award basically, I would say the word encapsulates a couple of, character traits of a person. So it includes a sporting activity over a certain period of time, like a year or 2 years, leadership experiences which you've got, community service activities. Also, there's like a residential project which helps the community. So there's various aspects of the project. I think now it's even increased more. Point being, this award, what it shows that the person is an all-rounder, and it's one of those courses or activities which you undertake at school. You can undertake it even before 25 if you're at university and finish it off. But I think when employers see that, they know that yes, you've had this experience and you've had diverse experience, so not just in one field especially. So how it's helped me is the fact that, I think the nominations which I was nominated for, the awards which I've got, I think obviously this was a key factor in saying that yes, he's actually certified. And this award is worldwide award, so it's not just Australian award. So I think wherever I go in the world, and when people say Gold Duke of Edinburgh Award, okay, well, he knows what he's doing. He's had significant experiences.
I think, again, it's an important thing for our children, that you can do this at an early stage. You don't have to do it in your last year of your HSC.
Or you can do it anytime.
Yeah. So and the fact is that it develops you in a well-rounded way.
Certainly.
So, well, Mohit, I would love to just keep talking to you because there is so much that you are telling us, and I hope that we will get you back on our program again. But on behalf of the Sindhi Association and me personally, and I'm sure from our community, I congratulate you on your achievements. Can you tell us what you're doing right now and where are you heading?
Certainly. At the moment, I'm studying on the Gold Coast, as I said earlier, doing my dental studies. My future plan is to become, for a while, at least a rural or a regional dental practitioner, because that's where the community needs dentists. And I think the appreciation of your work and the enjoyment, I think the satisfaction will be achieved in these communities for me personally, because I think you get to do more, and that's where the need is in the community. So my plan after graduation is to do at least 2 years of experience in a rural area and build my experience from there on and undertake research on the side as well in multicultural communities.
That's good. I have one last question of you. What are the pressures that you felt because you're living between two cultures? We have our Indian heritage and our Indian culture, and you are obviously going to be moving and living into the overall Australian way of life. So how do you balance the two so that you know who you are, you have your own cultural identity and your heritage, and you're benefiting from that, as well as you are a young Australian making your mark on Australia?
I think, two of my best friends are actually Australian themselves. I think when people ask me this question, I say to them that I've got the best of both the worlds, So if I want to have lamingtons, I can have lamingtons, or jalebis on the side if I want to have jalebis. I think it opens your eye to a whole array of things. And with respect to balancing, I would say, like, I do the cultural things at home in the community, whilst I do the Australian way of life as well. So I think I've kept my culture, I've kept my values, and those values I've gotten into my Australian way of life. So I think it's a hybrid, I must say.
I have to ask you this question because it's a hot topic at the moment with the ABC2 show of being dumb, drunk, and racist.
Yeah.
And as you know, they have 4 Indians who are now going through through Australia, trying to overcome that perception.
Yeah, certainly. I think with respect to the having both the cultures and having a gift of those, I think I'm quite blessed. I'm lucky that I've got 2 cultures. But having said that, I'm contributing to Australia and making the Indians proud in Australia that someone's doing it and doing a good job. And I think the appreciation is noteworthy. So I'm
So
lucky.
have you had any, experiences of the racist type?
I personally haven't had, because if I've been getting these accolades at this level, I personally haven't had it at all. And at school also I was vice captain, and in Gold Coast it's mostly like Anglo-Saxon based community, more Caucasian based than I would say any other ethnic community. So if I could do well over there and get that score, that just shows to me that I personally haven't faced any racism.
I think, if I can butt in again, it's really, my experience in Australia has been very, very good. I've had sometimes, you do, they love to make fun, but that's not, directed towards seriousness at all.
Certainly.
I believe that it's how you behave and how you deal and how you can mold and mix, and you got to understand it, like, in any other new country you come, not much for people of Indian origin who are born here, because you easily assimilate and meld into it. But it's a lot of the Indians who have come here 5 years, 10 years, I think that's where they are not very comfortable. It takes time
To assimilate.
and you got to come and understand the Australian psyche. Once
Yes.
you understand that, you're accepted very well, because I've had no problems.
That's right.
Like,
I mean, I've been here 32 years, and
Sumati, you've had.
I have not felt that myself personally. I think
Yeah.
there's a little bit you have to expect in every multicultural society. I think we grow up in India, which has got so much mix of multiculturalism. And I know we keep saying, "Wo Parsi hai, ye Madrasi hai, ye Falana hai, wo Tina."
Yeah.
So we all have that little bit, which is a human nature bit. But I think overall, it has been a very good experience.
I think adjustment and understanding and working together on something brings out ideas and stuff, and then there's the appreciation.
Yes, and I think that's a very good note. And thank you very much for coming here today.